Today I'm going to be talking about child hunger in America because we seem to lose sight that we actually have hungry children in the world.
We're launching across ABC News to call attention to another crisis in America, hunger here at home. Millions of people across this country simply don't have enough to eat. Nearly everywhere, take a look. The areas in brightest red on this map are where the hunger crisis is most severe. And the organization Feeding America has given us an exclusive first look at stunning new findings. 1 in 6 Americans and 1 out of every 4 children start each day not knowing that they will have the food they need. ABC's David Muir met the families behind those figures.
The McKimmons girls in Arkansas, their nightly prayer before dinner, great meal. And 10-year-old Jazir in Philadelphia, his tiny camera and a nearly empty refrigerator.
As you can see, there are missing food.
In every corner of the country, a portrait of hidden hunger now emerging. The recession has pushed 2.4 million more children into poverty. 17 million children are now food insecure, meaning their parents often don't know where the next meal is coming from. Simply put, 1 in 4 American children don't have enough food.
Domestic child hunger is a problem that 1 in 6 children are challenged with. This problem occurs from parents living below the poverty line, not being able to provide food with plausible income, and children are being forced to basically question their integrity. It makes them do things that not hungry child would do, such as stealing, lying, and it's linked to a lot of children bullying, which is a huge problem in America nowadays, and it's all just because they're hungry. And this problem can be solved if we can pass a law or make something happen so that major corporations and big food places, such as the local grocery store or McDonald's, even small places like that, well, big places, donate the extra food they have instead of throwing it away. We could actually solve this problem. Today I'm going to be talking about the problem, the cause, and the solution concerning child hunger. The problem is 1 in 6 American children suffer from child hunger, but their cries have been silenced because we as Americans don't believe that hunger affects American children due to poverty. Child hunger in America has been linked to a plethora of things. Child hunger has affected 13.1 million children in 2015, according to feedingamerica.org. Northwestharvest.org says 1 in 5 children in the state of Washington have performed unsatisfactory as far as schoolwork and the test, we all take the math test growing up, that the children that are hungry have been linked to do poor on the test because they can't focus long enough. And we need to stop linking it to the parents. It's not the child's fault, and neither is the parents. In this world today, we are still have 4.9% unemployment according to data BLS.gov, and that's basically saying that that's a lot of Americans. I forgot the exact number, but all those Americans that are unemployed tend to have at least 3 children. And we think that's all fine and dandy because we have all this government assistance. But the government assistance threshold is $20,000 a year for a family of 3. That's minimum wage, and you cannot survive on $20,000 a year, plus run a household, plus getting back and forth to work and feeding your child. And if you make $1, literally $1 over the threshold, you are cut off, and you cannot get the government assistance that you may need to save your child's life and make sure that they're eating. And even if you do get the government assistance, it's not enough. Let's say a family of 3, they might give them, I read that they might get $200 even a month in food stamps. Well, that's all fine and dandy for the first week or 2, but feeding 3 children off $200 a month, plus yourself and probably a father, that's not enough. That's gonna last. So the little boy said, by the end of the month, they have maybe 3 items in the refrigerator. This problem can be solved if we get major corporations to donate the food that they throw away. I used to work at Walgreens, so I know firsthand what they do. We would have And just to clear this up, just because something has an expiration date, that does not mean that that's when it goes bad. That's just the date that it has to be sold in the store. So it goes bad, like for milk, for instance, it goes bad 2 weeks later. So instead of selling, like giving the milk away that we would have to, that was going bad in the refrigerators when we were cleaning them out, we would dump them down drains and put the bottles in this like credit box. And instead of giving that milk away, we would get a store credit. So the next time that we had to buy milk in surplus, we would have to buy less milk to save Walgreens money instead of just giving that milk away because we don't need it anyway. And another corporation that does that is, I don't know if you guys have heard of it, but Schnucks, I know it's in St. Louis, I don't know if it's everywhere, but they were going through some legal troubles because they were like blocking their trash cans so no one can get the food that they were throwing away, instead of just letting the people, and it's already demeaning someone to have to go into a trash can to get their food, but they were locking them to make it even more harder so these people don't eat. And one woman was on the news and she said, they act like this is a proud moment for us, we're really just trying to feed our children. And I almost cried watching that because I've never not had food. That's something I don't worry about. So to have these children, like the boy on the video, he was 10, and at the end of it, it's a long video, so I didn't want to show the whole thing, but at the end of it, he was like, the hardest thing for me as a 10-year-old is eating little to nothing, but still watching my mom not eat because she has to sacrifice. And I don't know, that just touched me because you shouldn't have to worry about things like that at 10 years old, especially not food. That's something that we all should be given. And I feel like with all the money that's in this world and all the McDonald's, Burger King, Schnucks, Walmart, Walgreens, all of these people were just throwing these items away or pouring them down the drain instead of giving it to children or anybody that really needs it, but I'm speaking specifically to children. And in Washington, according to hungerfreecommunities.org, it got so bad that all of their children in this certain area of Washington were, like, when you do the MAP test, it's below basic, basic, above average, and it goes up from there. All of those children were performing at below basic, and they linked it to those children being hungry. So what they started doing is passing out hunger-free backpacks, which is they were getting donations from like churches and other community figures to pass out food that they were given for the weekend. And at school they were getting fed, but they weren't getting fed enough because it's not enough money in Washington, I guess. I don't know what's going on there, but they were getting fed twice a day but going home hungry, so they can't really focus on homework when they're hungry. And these are the children at this school specifically. They were the ones that were stealing. These were the bad kids that nobody wanted to take on. And once they started being fed, these are the kids that went from below basic to expert on the MAP test. And there was no stealing, and now this is a model school. So it's just the simple things such as food that can change the dynamic of the way a person lives, especially a child. And in my opinion, that's our future. These are the future doctors, lawyers, teachers growing up, and the least we can do is feed them. So in my opinion, I think that all of us in this classroom, or even in everybody in this world, if we would just pitch in and like try to take a stand. If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. So if we take a stand and ask these big corporations and try to get, bills passed and laws made that they have to donate that extra food to the churches that give to the hunger-free backpacks and to the children and to food banks, we can actually solve the problem of child hunger, because on average, major corporations throw away 35% of the food that they are supplied with, according to triplelondon.com, and that 35% can save a child's life.